We are going to look at two games from the Chinese esports team XCG. They are playing the Double Transformer comp in two Grand Finals games of the Naraka Bladepoint World Championship 2022. And what you're about to see is way different from how we play the game outside of China. It begins with the choice of drops. The first location they mark isn't final. They want to drop on one team at most in a desolate location because they want to avoid reviving in a place that has another respawn team which could kill them. Why? 1. Because Transformers are bad at fighting without ults and good loot. 2. Because they aren't worried about not getting many kills early on, because they will simply get them later. Dropping on one team as Transformers is good if you can make sure that no respawn team will hound you if you lose the first fight. Because of the team and shipwrecks, they move away from the winery. After all teams have marked, they are given 1 minute to discuss strategy. Everything gets complicated by the last second swaps, as this lobby has many Transformer teams who take a similar approach. To avoid getting singled out and focused by everyone, most teams pick the same comp as other teams. Anyway, XCG are surprised the Shipwrecks team jumped away, but they establish that the Northwest is free and they can roam there without any danger. This is remarkable because in the EU tournaments we played, we would usually prioritize early kills regardless of our team comp and not think quite as hard about where we can revive close by at zero risk of running into another team. Watch the game time. They effectively spawned at 29:46. They're opening troves and breaking boxes. They instantly buy a Moonbane, only 23 seconds have passed. This is enabled by a 54% shop discount build. In my Naraka Talents guide, I summarized how most EU players approach talents. For Transformers, I'd guess they would run an Energy Rage hybrid on all characters and maybe pick some shop discount. But these guys are on max shop discount on all characters. Kurumi is running Energy and max shop discount, while Tianhai and Yueshan are running full Rage and max shop discount. This is crazy and completely all in. They aren't planning to win neutral at all, they just want to have Moonbane, overblown gear and the option to transform all the time, while Kurumi retains some energy to dodge. They are committing to their plan of looting the desolate Northwest. They grab a Firefly on the way, buy upgrades and monitor the kill feed to figure out which ones are the hot drop teams. They don't run into any teams in the Northwest, so before it runs out, they Moonbane the Yang Gate to get safe passage. They are calling out an enemy crossbow, which can shred a monk, and they confirm their enemy's team comp is also double Transformers. Kurumi places her F last second for max durability on the pillar as a shield against grapples, grabs and ranged. Both monks instantly ult. XCG are shooting the enemy monk with 2 ranged weapons. Meanwhile, the enemy Kurumi gets grabbed instantly. XCG's Yueshan and Kurumi keep damaging the enemy monk, who loses HP and tries to engage in melee to peel for his Kurumi. The ult of the enemy Kurumi has been forced, who got re-grabbed immediately. However, the enemy Yueshan is forcing Kurumi to double tap dodge and ult in the open. XCG is lucky the enemy monk isn't watching after their monk pushed him out of his Kurumi ult. XCG's monk is body blocking any additional grab attempts from the enemy monk, and at this point it's just over for the enemy team. The enemy Yueshan will detransform way sooner than XCG, and there's no Kurumi ult left to restore anyone's HP. XCG focused on Yueshan, and the fight is decided in a 2 vs 3. They take the Phoenix buff at the last second, search for teams, and hunt down wolves in a Transformer fight. But let's skip ahead to another part, a tense situation that could escalate anytime. At the edge of the zone, another Transformer team pressures XCG with superior ranged weapons. Kurumi spends her F to cleanse a Fire Arrow's debuff to healing from her monk. It looks like neither team wants to fight here, so XCG's Tianhai grapples to apply some counter pressure, which will hopefully scare off the enemy. But the enemy monk chooses to ult. XCG's monk has to ult as well, because his teammates have so little cover in this area. Kurumi tries to dodge a grab, but the dodge is timed too early at that range and ping, and in the wrong direction, so she gets grabbed and dies instantly. One of the enemies gets sniped by a third party, but Kurumi calls, "Give me up." Kurumi dead in a small circle like this is very harsh. The game should be over for most Transformer teams. But XCG remain dangerous until the very end, getting kills with ranged weapons and trying to loot soul blooms and re-grab slams of enemy monks. It's really nice to watch. They scout for soul blooms and manage to find one to get the monk ult back up. Tianhai is using tree movement to protect himself against grapples, swinging to the top of the tree and going back down to climb it again. If there are other people on the same tree as him, it's an advantage to be slightly below them because he can damage them and make them fall. Tianhai reaches 100% rage, but sadly, despite performing a few dodges and trying to hide in the chaos around him, he gets grabbed while transforming, which denies his ult and, well, see for yourself. In the second game, they want to avoid spawning somewhere that forces them to respawn in the south if they lose, because the south doesn't have much loot. They are looking at the right side of the map. There is one enemy team they can spawn on. If they win, they go to the City of Tang and get all the gold loot. If they lose, they go north and will not run into any respawn team. There will be mind games again and last second switches. They stay in their spot, but they agree that they have to go all in the first fight, because another team spawned north of their position last second, which means they cannot respawn there. Everybody finds a weapon and calls it out. They call to chase the enemy. It's not safe for Kurumi to start a fight, so she waits for her teammates. They see two weapons on the enemy team. Kurumi is trying to FLMB Temok, who is the last guy and has no weapon. If he gets knocked back, they can kill him for sure. But the FLMB misses. Temok throws his F, which hits Yueshan, but he is in super armor, so he doesn't get staggered. Note how Kurumi stays on the sidelines, ensuring the enemies don't turn around and go on her. They keep chasing the enemy into the tunnel. They call that Temok found a weapon and warn each other about scale rush. As the enemy has found a weapon, they retreat. The enemy starts chasing and grapples on them. Kurumi's teammates immediately peel. Takeda F's Tianhai, all eyes on him. Nobody's watching Kurumi and Yueshan, who punish with focus attack. Tech chase, dead. They try to keep up the momentum by using Yueshan F into focus attack, but it's slightly out of sync, so Tianhai gets parried and killed. Yueshan light attacks to set up Kurumi's focus attack, and they kill Temok. It's 2 versus 1. Each take 1 Soul Bloom, which are boosted in Immortal War, so everyone will have ults soon. It's not safe to revive, so Kurumi tethers to Yueshan. The Takeda connects the light attack, but Kurumi FLMBs on Yueshan to neutralize the stagger. Takeda uses V3 into focus attack and almost kills Kurumi, but she ults and they 2v1 Takeda. Now they've gained control over the City of Tang and try to buy Moonbane, but I guess they took longer than 23 seconds this time, so all Moonbanes are sold out and they go for upgrades instead. They enter a Yang Gate against an enemy double transformer team. Kurumi places her F next to the pillar as a protection from grabs. Both monks instantly transform, but neither wants to risk going melee. They both try to dodge some of the shots. The enemy monk is trying to grab Yueshan, who dodges. Meanwhile, the enemy monk is taking more damage. XCG's monk has the HP advantage because they're shooting the other monk with 2 crossbows and they're swapping to a backup instead of repairing. They force the enemy Kurumi ult, who wants to keep her monk alive in the bullet hell. Now they are 1 ult ahead. XCG doesn't have to use Kurumi ult because they kept track of when both monks are going to turn small, so they know Tianhai can survive and reset without it. The enemy team focuses Kurumi, but she manages to dodge parry. They try to kill the enemy Kurumi, but her monk parry bells XCG's monk. Kurumi and monk try to kill the enemy monk, while Yueshan 1v1s the other Yueshan in ult. Yueshan calls out that he's beating the other Yueshan. Meanwhile, Kurumi is asking her teammates to focus monk. It looks like they're winning on 2 fronts. Just as they are trying to coordinate, Kurumi parries the enemy Kurumi and they all come together. Kurumi ults, keeping the team healthy while the enemy Yueshan is dying. The enemy team is focusing Tianhai. They are trying to connect the cavalry bloom, so XCG needs to look for an opportunity to peel. He gets caught by the cavalry bloom and drops to low HP. Kurumi tries to peel, but accidentally releases the focus attack on Tianhai, who comes in with parrybell and greatsword sap. Kurumi knew the enemy parrybell was up, but still released accidentally in his direction, which kills her. The enemy Kurumi dies, Tianhai heals, and they 2v1 the enemy Tianhai. The time is about to run out. If they don't kill him, everybody loses and they get the debuff. However, they finish in time. The Yang fight took very long and they pick up the buff at the very last second, so their Phoenix will outlast any other Phoenix in the game. With the buff, they look for a bounty quest at Bloom Castle and in the surrounding area. They locate their target and manage to get 2 kills in a third-party situation. The others who had been fighting must have seen the third party coming from the full bounty meter and managed to escape. Later, they secure a Morus blessing with a ballista and get gold armor for their Tianhai, as well as a golden flamebringer. Because Yueshan had to use V3 against a random Stray Viper and her teammate earlier, they decide to camp the edge of the zone, attempt to get some ranged kills and refill Yueshan's ult. They are together, either targeting enemy monks or people in their hands, depending on who is lower HP and a more likely kill. They eventually decide to rotate and look for a better position as the house next to them gets taken. They get ambushed by a Sandformer team from a bush. Tianhai instantly ults to keep everyone safe. Kurumi lines up a grab for him and immediately secures the kill. Very clean. Yueshan's grapple target manages to get into cover behind a rock. Looks like the enemy team didn't have all ults or called disengage. Tianhai then cancels his ult and takes a Soul Bloom because all visible grab targets are behind walls or umbrellas. The Sandformer Tianhai uses this chance to ult so that his Takeda teammate can try to rescue their Temo. XCG need to avoid getting grabbed, but they're also taking fire from the teams on the house. Kurumi places her F to provide cover for her teammates, and Yueshan transforms to protect Tianhai. They have to get into a house or high ground to survive until Tianhai has his ult back. But the house is taken by an enemy Tianhai who transforms inside. They have to go all in against him because there are teams bombarding the entrance with cannonballs. They are making sure that no more than one person at a time is grabbed to avoid the double grab damage. But the house is so cramped that Yueshan gets hit by the slams. It's raining cannonballs and soul slash outside. Kurumi loses her teammates to the combined damage inside and outside the house. Kurumi is looking for a way to revive Tianhai, who will have ult again soon. But there are enemies everywhere. She has to FLMB, leave the house and scale rush to relative safety. The roof looks good, but Temok doesn't like sharing. Better grapple away and wait for the F cooldown to end. Nope, still not safe. But a fortunate tab dodge lets her evade a longsword focus attack and the monk grab both at once. She runs into Temok again, who is out for blood. Lee said this is fine, and it actually is. Mortal Defiance kept Kurumi alive for another round of FLMB. This time an enemy Kurumi is inside, so time to get out and find another place to hide. Advanced heal 2, wait for F and try to revive again. There is still a lot of noise outside, including the sound of a Tianhai in ult. But she gets hit by a stray Takeda ult that was originally meant for the other Kurumi that died. The shadow hurts, but it is too soon to give up. Kurumi FLMBs again and climbs the ceiling to hide and heal up. But she needs Vitalia from one of the bodies on the ground, because the shadow is coming. XCG ultimately succumb, but not without an excellent fight. Let's recap. We learned a new way of choosing the spawn as Transformers. Transformers play shop discount and try to avoid fighting without ultimates. Moonbane sell out fast. We learned a lot about Transformer fights, for example to look for weak spots that let you grab an enemy, and close your own weak spots with Kurumi F, Tianhai's body or other cover. Fights can be decided by grabs, ranged, melee or a combination of them. Grabs can be hard to predict even at the highest level. Ranged kills matter a lot for your team score in a tournament. In late circles, try to scout and steal soul booms, especially if Tianhai doesn't have ult. Kurumi should not go in first, except in very few situations. In teamfights, set up focus attacks with light attacks and F. Monitor cooldowns and durations, or else you could get parry belt or waste an ultimate. Did you notice anything else you find important? Let me know in the comments, and leave some comment juice for the algorithm. Well played XCG and everyone else who participated, and see you next time.